Alright, so this may be one of the more honest, real, and expositional videos that I've ever done. And what I'm going to try to do is provide my perspective, my experience on really extremely common human emotions or psychological states, things like depression, things like anxiety, things like not even necessarily wanting to be alive or having real doubts about, well, why am I even here? What am I even doing? What's really the point? And along with that, put across theories and points of view that are resonating with and pretty much aligned with much of the philosophy of Carl Jung and Freud and Wilhelm Reich and Erich Fromm and Friedrich Nietzsche and R.D. Laing and a lot of other people that I could keep naming, Alan Watts, Lao Tzu, whatever. Basically, I'm going to talk about my experience with much of my life, which is feeling really depressed, feeling really angry, feeling really confused, feeling really lost. And these experiences led me to where I am today, and in many ways they're typically normal human experiences, but in the world we live in today, they are highly demonized. And I can tell you that I've gotten so many condescending and hateful emails and comments from people being like, you know, you just don't seem happy, or you just don't seem so positive. You know, maybe you could just be this, or maybe you should just be that, or maybe you just don't really know what you're talking about. Maybe you're full of shit. All these types of things. As in, there's this idea that this naive, fucking childish, ridiculous, stupid, ignorant, uneducated, uninformed, completely asinine, ineffective, inefficient, unrealistic, unbased fucking opinion that there's something that we can do that will just get us one up on reality, where we'll be just free of everything that it means to be human and in this life, and everything will just be perfect. And it's all just going to be rainbows and sunshine, and it's going to be positive, and we're going to be so happy forever, and everything will be perfect. That's really what people believe, and people approach health, spirituality, religion, and consumerism and so many things from this mindset. And there's a whole lot of people on the planet that would be like, oh, that's what you want? Okay, we'll sell it to you. You know, here's the 7-step process to master everything. And, or, you know, there's the whole consumer world, which is, oh, you feel insecure, but, you know, just go to the mall, buy this stuff. You'll feel better. You'll have these better clothes. You'll look better, and everyone will love you. Whatever. And that's a whole other exposition and commentary which I've done in lots of other videos, and it's not really the point or the context of this video. However, I'm not putting down any of those things because I like nice things, I like clothes, I like things just as much as everyone else. But I see the game, I see the manipulation, and I see how the shirt I wear has really not much to do with the core individual or person that I am. Can be an expression of it, but it's not really the same. And it's kind of juvenile to believe that it is, but that's the state of the planet that we're in. So anyways, getting to the point of the video, I want to reference and set a context with a quote from ancient Rome, and they had this thing that the mechanism of influential power over the Roman mass by the ruling elites and class, what they called literally bread and circuses. And it was a formula for the well-being of the population and an effective strategy for political control. And this formula offered a variety of pleasures such as food, public baths, gladiators, exotic animals, chariot races, sports, and theater representations. It was an efficient instrument in the hands of the emperors to keep the population peaceful and at the same time giving them the opportunity to voice themselves in these places of performance. Does that sound familiar? Okay, let's see. In America, we have the Super Bowl. Okay, what is the most coveted thing, and the reason why people watch the Super Bowl a lot of time? Commercials. Is there a connection? Is this a new idea? Not really. But it's there, so let's look at that. So, okay, that's saying a broad thing, so getting to the point of talking about depression, talking about anxiety, talking about feeling lost. And if we look at quotes from R.D. Laing, he basically said that the natural response to an insane society is insanity. And what he meant by that was not necessarily being in a corner talking to yourself, chewing on your shirt, and being like kind of a complete ignoramus, but any sort of what we call today negative emotions, which are actually just normal human experiences. It's kind of like if someone encroaches on you and offends you, don't you have the right to be angry? You know, if you're petting a cat or you're petting a dog and you do something that it doesn't like or you make it feel uncomfortable, doesn't it have the right to defend itself? I'm not saying it has the right to attack you and maul you, but if you notice with animals who necessarily haven't been abused but have had a healthy life, they have kind of a progression where they'll sort of at first give you a look or maybe show you their teeth, and then if you are dumb enough to ignore that, then they'll make noises. If you're dumb enough to ignore that, they'll sort of hit you. If you're dumb enough to ignore that, they will attack you because maybe that's every organism's inherent right. But then we get into spirituality, we get into religion, we get into collectivism. And all of those emotions are bad. Don't do that. Don't worry about that. We got everything under control. Don't worry about it. Just sit back, relax, and be peaceful. It's fine. So that's one way of understanding it and looking at it. And I highly recommend studying the works of the people that I suggested at the beginning to get a whole other perspective on kind of the bullshit that we've all been sold. So anyways, getting to the meat, getting to feeling depressed, feeling really angry, feeling really sad, which the moral of the story is, for most of my life, those have been the most of what I've felt, to be totally honest. I know that doesn't make me a great spiritual teacher or a great leader, but honestly, I don't give a shit. That's retarded. That's such a stupid construct. Why the fuck would anyone want to do that? It's ridiculous. It's kind of like only a sick person would necessarily enjoy being abused. So why would we want to even participate and or create that type of construct? Now, it's not to say we can't have teachers, we can't have signposts, we can't have people that we learn from. Obviously, that's really useful. I have lots of teachers, people that I learn from and consult with, and it's really helpful. Duh, that's obvious. That's really common sense. So why? Why would such an emotional state be so widespread? And why would so many of us feel really isolated, feel really alone? And even to this day, most of the time, I feel pretty isolated, pretty alone, and annoyed and upset with the way things are. So I tend to live a pretty hermetic lifestyle and choose, and people say I'm picky or whatever, but I don't fucking care. It's like, it's my life. I'm here. I want to enjoy it. So why? Am I just an asshole? Am I just a sick, depressed person who's neurotic and I need to be on medication? I need therapy? Maybe. It's totally your judgment call. And what I'm saying is not one-sided, because there's the full spectrum of emotions. So we can have anger, we can have sadness, we can have frustration. But the only real issue is then when we become stuck and fixated, and that's all we have, and that's all we look at, and that's all we can see, then that's called sickness, then that's called disease. But in actuality, it could be a natural thing depending on what we are seeing and focusing on. So just like there is great pain, there's also great love and light and amazing experiences and magic to be had in this world, which is part of the reason why a lot of people throughout history have chosen to isolate to a degree. Now, I don't mean live in a cave, but there's many different ways in which that can manifest. So, answering my own question after finally 9 minutes of rambling, why? Okay, well, number one is we have to look at the world in which we are given. We are born into this world in some ways carrying genetic information, and in some ways having all this wisdom inside of us, and in some ways we're a blank slate. And basically what we are told, most of us, most of the time, through most of this construct, is on one hand we have religion giving us a worldview, and then we have science giving us a worldview. Both are pretty much religions, both are things people worship, both are things that people project their power onto and away from. And we can also put politics in there, but really they're heads of the same hydra. They are aspects of the same animal. We just look at them in different ways. Kind of like if you're in water, you put your finger in the water, you see fingers and they look like all these different separate things, but then you pull it out and you realize, oh, it's the same hand. Oh, what a Amazing optical illusion. So what are the underlying beliefs that will make a person think, what's the point? Why would I even want to be here? This is miserable. Number one is we're here on probation under the watchful and condemning and judgmental eye of fill in the blank. Either karma or God or whatever. We have that. Or on the flip side, we have, the atheistic or rigid scientific point of view, which is like, well, we're here to survive, so we can just keep on surviving. There's no God. There's no overarching intelligence in the world. There's just these billiard balls hitting these billiard balls, and that's just life. So we have two ends of the spectrum. And then we have kind of people who are, I'm agnostic. I just don't know. It's like, how can you not really know? Or not necessarily know, but how can you not really see through this false dichotomy and this false dialectic that we're sold? And sort of, sometimes people are just kind of afraid. So they kind of just, I'm just going to be safe. I'm not going to speak up. I'm not going to think. I'm not going to question. I'm not going to have opinions. I'm not going to be judgmental or critical. No, I'm just going to hold to the safe place. What is that? So anyways, that's not really the point of the video. The back is those first 2 point of views. Who would really want to live either of those lives? Sounds fucking miserable. Because like I said, only a sick person would probably love being a slave or being an indentured servant. Who is healthier? Someone who sees insanity and mistreatment and pain and suffering and abuse and violence and is like, okay. Oh, where do I sign up? This looks fun. I want to participate. Oh, you're abusing me, but if I just work hard enough, then I can be on top, and then I can abuse these other people. Then I'll finally be okay. Who's sicker and who's healthier in that equation? I don't know. It's up to your opinion. So following those same beliefs, there's the other beliefs that are in there, which is in and of yourself, you're not okay. You're a sinner. You fell from grace. You fell from Eden. You're unevolved. You're unenlightened. You have bad karma. You're a female, or you're a male, or you're this race, or you're that race, or you're too short, or you're too tall, or your boobs are too big, or your boobs are too small, or you have too much hair, or you don't have enough hair. All of this infinite circus that we just get lost in and think, well, if I was just different, if I was just different, things would be okay, So then people say, well, maybe I'll just get on board with a spiritual thing. Maybe they have the answers. Oh, maybe I'll get on board with this religion, or this diet, or this exercise cult, or fill in the blank with about 100 other things. And again, there's nothing wrong with any of those things in and of themselves. What we're talking about is the underlying driving force and belief system, which is toxic, which is sick, which is insane, which is crazy, and which has probably nothing to do with anything that's real in life. And maybe these are the real causes of our neuroses, of our schizoid nature, of our divided nature, of our self-hatred, of our self-destructivity towards ourselves, toward nature, of our violence and our coercion against ourselves, against other people on a regular and daily basis, of the ways in which we constrict and contract ourselves all the time, every day. But I'm the only one, you're right. I'm the crazy motherfucker who sees this shit and does it to himself, but everyone else is free. Exactly, yeah, you're right. I heard another quote, and it said, the person who's quickest to say, like, mind control and psychological influence and all these things are not real is probably the person that's most under their influence. But hey, so that's the third belief. The fourth belief is basically this, along the same lines, which is, well, you have to be something better than you are. And then, whoosh, here's the treadmill, here's the hamster wheel, here's the pyramid. Climb it. And that's basically what our life script is. That is the life script that we are given most of the time. Now, not all of us. Some people were lucky. Some people had amazing parents who were like, hey, see all this stuff out here? It's actually just a game that people are playing. And it's total bullshit. But you have to kind of play it, You have to kind of play the game sometimes. You have to weave in and out. You have to be adaptable. You have to do all these things, but it's not really real. It's not really what's going on. Who you are is something different. Your self-esteem is not contingent upon all these things. In and of yourself, you're okay. in and of yourself, life is intelligent. There's magic here. There's mystery here. There's wonder. There's awe. We'll never figure it all out. There's beauty all around us. There's the beatific vision to be had in any time and any place. There is enlightenment here and now, anywhere. There's beauty all around us. Some of us were lucky to get that worldview, and some of us had to say, you know what, fuck all this ridiculousness. I don't really want to participate in the circus, and I actually don't really like bread, so I'm going to maybe go do something else. But then that has its own pain, because we've been so conditioned. Well, don't question any of this stuff. Don't go outside any of it stuff, because no one will love you. You'll be all alone. You won't be able to make money. You won't be able to support yourself. You won't have resources. You'll die. You won't have protection. The universe won't take care of you. In and of yourself, you're not okay. You're stupid. You need all these things. You need these handrails. You need the support system. You need the crutches. You need the training wheels. Otherwise, you'll just fall flat on your face. And if you fall flat on your face, there's not going to be anyone there to pick you up but yourself. And there's not going to be anyone to blame but yourself. If you succeed, that's your fault. If you fail, that's your fault. Who are you going to blame? Who's going to be responsible for that? You? Oh, well, that's scary. No one wants that, because we've been trained our whole lives to say, oh, we'll be responsible. Oh, the world is the way it is. Well, it's because of them. Or, oh, well, my relationship sucks. It's because of my partner. Or, I'm unevolved or unenlightened. Well, it's because my parents messed me up. And then you go to your parents and say, hey, parents, you messed me up because, you told me this and you told me that, and this wasn't wrong and it made me feel bad. And our parents say, well, wait. We're like this because of these reasons, and our parents did this and our parents did that. And then you go to their parents' parents, and their parents say, hey, whoa. We're only like this because our parents were like this. We grew up in this kind of world, and that's what we believe. That's what we had to do to survive, and that's why we believe it's true. And how dare you question us in your, ignorant youth when we're older and wiser than you? And then you can go ask their parents. Same story. Take it all the way back. Same story. And then the evolution of this physical reality. Follow every chain of causation possible back to what? The Big Bang. Oh, so the reason why I'm sitting here making this video is because of the Big Bang, and the reason why I'm sad is because of the Big Bang. The reason why I'm happy is because of the Big Bang. It's all explained. It's all figured out. Oh, okay. I can go back to sleep. That's the script we're given. Saying, well, here's the pyramid. Get a good job, get a good family, get enough money, get this, get that. It'll be fine. So is it no wonder that people are like, that feels terrible. That's really depressing. I have to live my whole life under this watchful eye. That's really depressing. And maybe I won't be good enough. Maybe I'll suffer for all of eternity. Or maybe I'll be reborn as a cockroach. I'm really scared. I'm really afraid. I don't really feel very good in this physical structure. So underlying that is, I don't really want to even be alive. I don't trust this place. It doesn't seem very safe. It doesn't seem like it was even designed for me, because the me that I know came from another place that was supposedly better, and here I am, I'm fucking stuck on this place, and it sucks, and I don't like it. And it's all these rules that I have to follow, and all these organisms that are out to get me, and all these people that are out to get me. But what am I going to do? Okay, well, I'm just going to armor up, and I'm just going to be whatever. I'm going to be this enough and that enough. I'm going to prove that I'm this and prove that I'm that, and then maybe I'll finally get one up. Or I'll say on the other end, fuck it all. It all is just stupid and it doesn't make any sense, and it's all just a bunch of garbage. So I'm just not going to do it. So I'm just going to be apathetic and angry and depressed all the time and just sit here with my arms crossed and be pissed off at the whole world. Or we'll go to the other and say, you know what? God is dead. There's no rules. Karma doesn't exist. It's all bullshit. There's no rules here. This is all just billiard balls, So I was told that I was here under a watchful eye, and that watchful eye maybe doesn't exist, so I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. I want to have sex with as many people as I want. I want to not wear clothes whenever I want, to eat whatever I want. I want to play whenever I want. I want to be as wild as I want. I want to go here. I want to go there. I just want to live sex, drugs, and rock and roll for the rest of my life, because you know what? I can do whatever I want because I'm free. So we have the basic scripts, which a lot of us fall into. But each underlying each of those things is the same programming. In and of myself, not okay. The universe isn't going to take care of me. I'm a stranger here in a strange land, and I don't really belong. And so what's really the point? Well, at first they told me the point was to work and to be a good person and to do that. But then I found out that wasn't real, so Now, if there's no point in doing that, I'm just going to go to the opposite extreme and just play, 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 because there's no point in doing anything else. Maybe, maybe not. Those are questions which each of us need to kind of resolve on our own and find our own path, because I don't know really what the answer is. But the point of this is that understanding that perhaps, maybe through all this ridiculousness and me rambling for the last 20 minutes, we can see, well, no wonder people are depressed. No wonder people are anxious. No wonder people are on drugs. No wonder people hate themselves and spend all day polluting themselves and all day doing things that they don't like to do, so that hopefully one day they can maybe do some things that they like to do, but then when we get to do those things, they're worried about whether it'll be good enough or how long it'll last or if they can afford it, so they can get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, so they can keep on surviving and keep on surviving, so they can keep on surviving again, so that maybe after they're done surviving they can survive in a higher, better place, or after they're done surviving the next time they have to survive they can be in a better place. Instead of being a human on this level, they can be a human on that level or this level, da, 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 da. And that's the whole fucking human game most of the time. So is it a wonder that people are stressed? Is it a wonder that people need external authority figures? Is it a wonder that there's widespread war and chaos on the planet, that people destroy the environment, destroy themselves, and abuse themselves on a regular basis? Probably not. Probably makes a whole lot of sense when that is what you believe about the world. If you believe that you came from some other place and that the real place that you're going to get back to is going to be better than this place, why would you really give a fuck about this place or about caring about it or taking care of it or the people on it? And why would you? You probably wouldn't. But the major theme is that all of these things that I'm talking about, it has nothing to do with reality. It has nothing to do with anything that's real. Because what is real is things here. But then people say, well, no, you're just a materialist. You're just talking about things are just physical. And, what about the spiritual world? What about the spirit? I need a spiritual thing because this isn't good enough for me. Again, those are all constructs, things people made up. The idea of something being physical, something somebody made up. The idea of something being spiritual is something somebody made up. And the thing about physical reality is that it's really spiritual, because the more you try to grab it, the more it slips through your fingers. This is just the fucking thing about reality. It's like water. The more you try to hold it and control it, the more it slips through your fingers, the more chaotic it gets. But when you kind of leave it alone, you kind of let it do its thing, then you can kind of see it a little bit more for what it is, depending on how you're looking at it. Because what people fail to realize is that what we see about the world, what we measure about the world, what we're able to perceive about the world is inherently related to and dependent upon the object from which we are observing it from. And the bigger, more complex our objects, our instruments become, the more, quote unquote, of reality that we'll see. And there was a time where if you went up to people and said, hey, do you know there's this whole world on your skin of all these weird little small organisms that are just crawling around and doing their own things? You would have been burned at the stake. You would have probably had your tongue cut off, or like Giordano Bruno, you would have had a tongue or a nail nailed through your fucking tongue for speaking such blasphemy. But then what happens? Oh, we have microscopes. Pfft, this stuff's been here all along. We knew it the whole time. Look how evolved we are. Or you have people, the Inquisition. People remember the Inquisition? People believed, oh, this is really good. This is really for everyone's best good that we're burning them and killing them. And maybe when they die, maybe when they're being burned alive, they'll realize and finally, give their life over to God. That was for their best interests. And then what happened in the 1950s and 60s with electroshock therapy and lobotomies? Oh, this is for their best interest. They're sick, and this is just going to be better for them. So we're going to cut off part of their brain because we think that it's going to be good. And then what do we have now? Well, it's just for everyone's best good that we have to cut them and give them drugs and poison them and burn them. And, it's just for their best good. So eventually, at some point, all of this stuff is going to be irrelevant and primitive, because if we just take 15 minutes and look at history, it's right there. So is it no wonder then that people feel a little upset, feel a little uneasy, and feel not necessarily that they really want to participate in a world that says that it's here to serve and protect us, but really serve and protect who? Their own self-interest or to parasitically feed on us so that it can survive, like a meme, like a virus, like a parasite. I don't know. Something to consider, something to research. So if people say to me, you know what, you don't really know what you're talking about. You're not very spiritually evolved because you're angry, you're opinionated, you're critical, you're judgmental. You seem sad sometimes. You seem depressed sometimes. You seem frustrated sometimes. So you know what? If you think that, fuck you, don't watch this video. You're an idiot. And you probably need to go back to elementary school to be fed more mindless bullshit to drown you out from the real shit that is happening in the physical world. Because if you turn on the TV and see the fucking insanity that people are believing is real, who is more sane to sit there and be like, yeah, it's all good, man. Pass the bong. It's cool. It's all love. We're all one, brother. It's all the same consciousness, man. Or to be like, this is fucking bullshit. And here's why. And here's an articulate description of the exact ways in which this is happening. And here's ways in which it could hopefully be better. Here's ways in which I am making myself psychologically immune to the parasitic influence of this fucking ridiculous organism so that I myself might be stronger, so that I can be happier, so that I can live longer, so that I can contribute more to my own life and to the life of others and show up more authentically to myself and in my relationships and support people to do the same. I don't know, something to think about. But you know what? The thing I really want to say is people claim they're very spiritual and conscious, but they're actually the same druggies as the pharmaceutical industry. They're actually full of the same bigotry and dogma as monotheistic religion, which has been murdering and enslaving people for a really long time. You know, the major justification for slavery in America was that it was in the Bible, and that's what God wanted, because the white male was the best in the top of the pyramid, and that's why people believed it was okay. And a lot of people still do believe that, if you can believe that, which is crazy, because there is literally a line in the Bible which says, if you have a male or a female slave and you beat them and they die, that's a sin. But if you beat them and they live, it's okay because they're your property, because you know what? You're a white male and you can do whatever you want. That's what a lot of people believe. And I might sound like a total crazy paranoid asshole saying that, but just look at history. Look at the Inquisition. Look at the colonialization that's happened all over the world by who? I don't know. Something to look at, something to think about, but it's out here right in the middle for everyone to see, but no one wants to see it, no one wants to look at it, because we want to go buy stuff. We want to be happy. We don't want to bother with all this critical thought and looking at the world, because it might make me uncomfortable. Ugh. I just want to go to like my yoga class and like be happy and like get a juice and then go to Starbucks and then go shopping and then watch TV, and then I'm so spiritual, and then I want to post on Instagram and Facebook how healthy I eat so that everyone will love me, and then I'm going to go to the gym and post pictures of my butt or my boobs or how ripped I am so people will like me and I can get validation for living my inauthentic life by other inauthentic people living an inauthentic life based on lies that are thousands of years old that people have been believing and that specific organizations have been cramming down our throats for a really long time. So as you can see, probably by all these perspectives, probably why my social life isn't as active as a lot of people. And maybe why most of my life I kept to myself, didn't really talk to that many people, never really fit in with a group, had strong periods in my life where I just didn't want to live, where I felt really fucking lost and cried all the time and walked around with tremendous pain and sadness in my chest, paralyzing pain all the fucking time. But I was in school, you know, I was a teenager, I had sports to play, I had grades to get. I don't have time for all this fucking existential reflection. I don't have time for all this, like, personal thought. Just go to church, just get good grades, and it'll all be fine. So is it a wonder people don't feel very good sometimes? But the moral of the story is that there is the pain of existence. And then there is the other pain, which is the pain of trying to avoid pain, which is a quote by Artie Lang, which that all kind of rhymed, which was cool. So there is the pain of the inauthentic life, and there's the pain of the authentic life. And there's a quote from Freud, which he said, the point of psychotherapy was to replace the illegitimate and inauthentic neurotic suffering of the neurotic, and replace that with legitimate human misery. That's what Freud said. That's what Freud thought the point of psychotherapy was. And Jung had similar ideas. if you people actually look at the research. So yeah, there you go. There's me being honest. Now, to be explicitly clear, let's talk a little bit about solutions, because this is an important point of it, because I've just spent a long time just bitching and talking about shit that's a lot of people will think, it's so bad, it's so negative, this guy's an asshole, what's wrong with him, he must be miserable. But actually, most of the time, I feel pretty good, I feel pretty happy, in the midst of all the shit. I feel pretty good, because life can be pretty awesome. I mean, there's so much amazing things in magic and mystery and wonder and awe and just fucking overwhelming positivity and love and just beauty, and all these indescribable words and experiences can be had in reality in the simplest of things. You can just look at a tree and be overwhelmed, like, whoa, that makes me want to fucking cry. Or like, so many things in life, or relationships, or interactions with people, or music, or art, or books, or movies, or dance, or martial arts. So many things that could go on that are just amazing and incredible. So that is leading to solutions. And number one is that we are pretty much conditioned to try to get everything from humans, We're taught about the distinction between the inanimate and the animate world. And we're given a hierarchical view of the world where humans are on top. And there's a quote from Zhuangzi, the Taoist philosopher, and it's basically, all these people are at a banquet, and some asshole gets up and says, you know what, all animals and plants, we eat all of them and they grow for us. So obviously, all of this planet is existing for humans, and we're at the top. And then some other person gets up and says, well, actually, tigers eat humans, so clearly all of this exists, and we exist for the benefit of tigers. And we could also say, well, perhaps we exist for the benefit of parasites and maggots and all the things which will inevitably, and worms, all the things which will hopefully inevitably break down and decompose our body, put it back into the earth. So clearly we exist for them because they feed on us. And a lot of people get sick, and some people die from viruses and parasites and bacteria. So clearly humans exist for them. So maybe we're not really on the top of the food chain. Maybe this whole thing is just a big ploy so viruses and bacteria can just eat us. It's ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous train of thought, but that's kind of what a lot of people believe, and a lot of us are led to believe. So with regards to the inanimate and the animate object, or inanimate and the animate, the word animal or anime, anima, whatever, these words, their etymology roots back to basically a word which means kind of spirit. So the word animal, mal is like malevolent, that prefix. So animal kind of just means evil spirit, which shows you how much reverence white dudes that came up with these words really had for nature. Probably not too much. But if you look at many other indigenous cultures that worshipped and revered and really respected animals, different consciousness altogether. So anyways, we're given this lie that, this physical world is just dead and dumb and stupid, and it's all inanimate, but us humans, we're at the top. We're the most animate, intelligent creatures. Ridiculous. The most pompous, arrogant, stupidest bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Like, seriously, come on. The point of that is basically starting to question, well, what is our relationship with this world? What is our relationship with light, with color, with air, with the wind, with sound, with vibration, with our bodies, with the intelligence of our bodies, with the movement of our bodies, with the sensations of our bodies, or anything in nature, the grass, the colors, the clouds, the sun, the moon, the heat, the cold. Do we have relationships with any of these things? Do we have relationships that are intimate in any way, shape, or form? Probably not, because we think the only intimate relationship I can have is with other people, because they'll give me all the validation and appreciation that I need. And if I don't get that from what I need from them, I'm just out of there. I'm going to get a better relationship, because that sucks. That's what we're taught. But what about all these other things that we're just giving the middle finger to all the time, because we just say, they're But then there's the rare artist, there's the rare person who just fucking falls in love with music or art or writing or whatever it could be. And then that person probably creates something great that a lot of people are like, how did they do it? I just don't understand how they did it. But I really appreciate the entertainment that allows me to project my inner gold out onto someone else's, passion and inspiration. But the thing is, each of us has that within inside of us. We have something. It's just a matter of what is our relationship, what is our skill level. Because we can't really be good at anything without skill. To be alive requires some skill and some dedication and discipline. If you want to be good at anything and really enjoy anything, it takes skill. I have tea, right? And whenever I first started brewing it, I didn't enjoy it as much because my skill just wasn't as good. But over the years, whatever, my skill has gotten better and I enjoy it way more. Playing musical instrument, doing any discipline, the more I do it, the more enjoyable it becomes because the more skill I have, the more I'm able to explore. But in the beginning, it was enjoyable. Yeah, it was also kind of annoying and getting frustrating because whatever. But it's also part of the learning process and finding things that we each like that we actually enjoy. And people have really stupid connotations with those words, but it's worth of exploration and investigation and thinking about it. So that's really the number one solution, is starting to look at these things and build relationships to them and finding joy in life, finding things that we actually like, things that make us happy, things that allow us to have an individual experience. And I don't mean in some stupid political term like, oh, we're capitalists and we're America, so we're about the individual, or we're communists and we're about the collective. This stuff is stupid. This stuff never works, never has worked, probably never will work. I'm talking about these terms in more of a psychological, psycho-spiritual term. If you don't know what they mean, do research, figure it out. And when I mean individual, we could also mean soul, we could also mean self, we could also mean true self, authentic self, whatever. It's basically understanding and finding ways and avenues for us to actually have those experiences and tap into those experiences and realize that we can have those experiences. We can have a unique experience. We can have our own experience, which is our own, in our own center, in our own way, in our own flow, in our own life. And then we can share and dance and play with other people and have probably a lot more fun and a lot more health along the way. But we should probably not ever assume that there's, just the way that we're going to be able to get one up on reality, the way that we're just going to be able to, put a gun to God's head, as a lot of people. That's how a lot of people view religion and spirituality, is just putting a gun to God's head. Saying, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what needs to happen. Which is a bit of a fallacy there, because if we're saying, in and of myself, I'm not okay and I need to be fixed, how can we really trust or mistrust? And how can we really trust that our broken sense of judgment is going to lead us in the right direction? And that if we're labeling ourselves as broken, how is that brokenness going to be able to see, recognize, appreciate, or approve of what could actually be the right thing? Because each of us has what's called defense mechanisms. Each of us has repression and suppression. And each of us has a whole, ball of wax of programming that can really block us. So maybe it's not necessarily about seeking, novelty and new things in the external world, but renewing our mind. Maybe it's not about consuming out here, but deconstructing and breaking down in here. And it's just like William Blake said, when the doors of perception are cleansed, we can see things as they are. Which might be amazing, it might be really shitty, it just depends. But at least we're starting to see things as they are, not as we wish and hope they would be, projecting all of our neuroses on top of it. And just imagine how that could change the world. Just imagine how that could change relationships. And just imagine the type of creativity, love, joy, and expansion that could allow and create in the world. Because people have a lot of bullshit ideas that, you just have to be happy. And if you're not totally happy and you don't know who you are, you can't create or do anything in the world. And literally, if you go on YouTube and type in self-love or inspiration or joy or creativity or manifesting, people say this shit all the time and they think it's actually true. And I'm not saying personally it's not true. What I'm saying is, have you looked at art from throughout human history, for example? Have you looked at creation or scientific discovery or revelation or revolution or evolution ever at all? Have you looked at polarity that exists in reality called yin and yang, that things in isolation typically don't really do much, but when you have two polarities or complementary aspects that come together, like male or female, boom, then you have the potential for creation. So this one-sided idea of reality doesn't make a single bit of sense actually at all ever, and it never will. So it's probably not that helpful, useful, healthy, or common sense to keep promoting it. But that's what self-help is usually all about. And when I talk in this voice, it's for specific reasons. Because this is how we have to be if we want to be in the self-help world. And we want to be spiritual and evolved and kind and loving. Because what that type of voice is showing us is called repression. Because if we use Chinese medicine, for example, let's look at the liver. What does the liver do in just a generic Western physiological sense? It keeps on growing. You can cut out part of it, it grows back. Okay, makes sense. Okay, in the Chinese medicine perspective, liver is associated with the wood element. Well, trees typically grow pretty much until they die. They reach out and they grow deeper and they grow deeper and they grow wider, and their roots spread out and they're grabbing on and holding on and controlling the earth while they're growing up. And then they die, and then the whole process starts over and they decompose and feed other trees, and it's this amazing growth process. It's also associated with the season of spring, which spring is where extreme yin, which is winter, everything is dead, everything is still, and then spring, boom, growth, new growth, regeneration, coming back to life. Well, okay, what is the emotion associated with liver? Well, typically anger, but also a sense of righteousness and justice. Okay, might there be a positive usage of those emotions in the right context? For example, if you're stuck in depression or you're feeling really just disempowered, saying, well, I just need to think positive, I just need to be happy, I just need to know what I want and manifest it, and then I'll solve all my problems. Maybe what's more constructive is being like, you know what, fuck this. I've been living this ridiculous existence for too long now. You know, this room is messy, and I'm sick of this mess. So I'm going to get up off the couch, and I'm going to clean this room. And then after that, probably feel better. And then I'm going to see the next thing. You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. So I'm going to fix it. So you're going to actually create some growth. But then spirituality and religion and politics and all of these things tell us, oh, evil, it's bad. Don't do that. That's bad. Good kids don't behave that way. You know, you're being brainwashed by your teachers, you're being suppressed by your parents, and then you get angry about it because your natural sense of self is being extinguished, and your parents say, no. You need to be okay with being disrespected. You need to be okay with being suppressed. You need to be okay with being disrespected in that way. This anger thing is not healthy. It's not okay. And just please look at religion and spirituality and tell me that shit is not true most of the time. It's what people believe. People believe I have to control myself. I have to empty my mind. I have to be this. I have to be that. I have to be so different. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. So what was the point of that? But also, I guess what it should be said is there's things that are constructive, there's things that are deconstructive, and there's things that are destructive. Those are all very different things. At no point am I saying that it is okay to be an asshole or to be mean to people or to be disrespectful or to be destructive or harmful or harm anyone or do anything in that way, because that's not cool. We don't really have the right to do that. We're just perpetuating the same disrespect that we were given, and how's that helpful? And it presents a real problem, because if we have a job, we have a relationship, we have these things that we're doing, and you can't necessarily go to your job and be like, this is all bullshit, I'm not doing it, and get all pissed off. Everyone's going to look at you like you're crazy, and then you're probably going to get fired, and then you're going to get a terrible reference, and you're probably not going to be able to get a job again. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, I don't know. It's not my place to decide. All I'm saying is remembering that, contextual awareness, situational awareness, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, these are all highly valuable things to have, along with everything else that we've been talking about. But anyways, the point of this video was to shed some light and commentary on reasons why people might be angry, depressed, anxious, sad, feel suicidal, not want to live, whatever. And then also tell you pretty much explicitly why for most of my life I felt like a loner, for most of life I felt misunderstood, because I've had these point of views before I even knew how to articulate them. Because the thing is with kids is maybe we don't have a developed linguistic whatever. We don't have these developed ways of understanding things, but we can understand context. We can understand subtext. We can understand that maybe we're raised in a religious family that's full of hypocrisy. People go, well, for example, okay, we're in church. We're talking about love. We're talking about kindness. We're talking about condition, or goodwill. And then as soon as we get in the car, people are being racist. They're being sexist. They're being really trivially judgmental and critical towards other people and putting them down. And it's like, wait a minute, weren't we just in church talking about love, and now 5 seconds later you're being a complete asshole? Kids can see the contradiction. Adults can't really see it, because adults are like, yeah, we're all about love. Oh, fuck those people. They're so stupid. Yeah, but we're all about love here, It's just accepting everyone and being involved and, just like changing the world, man, for like a better place. And adults can do that, but kids, it's not so easy. So that's part of where a lot of the stuff comes from. So for me, it's been helpful to actually see this stuff and understand it and accept, like, whoa, I've been feeling these things. And yes, as an individual, I bought into the lies. Oh, these are bad. Oh, I got to get rid of these. Oh, I'm not spiritual. Oh, I'm not evolved. I have to get rid of these emotions. I need therapy. I need meditation. I need herbs. I need to cleanse. I need to fast. I need to detox. I need to just get rid of this toxins that are in me. I have to get rid of them. Yeah, I definitely bought into that for a while. Been there. We're all there. We're all human. And some of us are there still, and some of us are there still, and we don't even know it. I mean, that's part of the hilariousness of the unconscious and repression, is that if it's unconscious and it's repressed, how do we know? I don't know. It's funny. That's also part of this whole thing is, yeah, it might all sound really dark, it might sound depressed, and you'd be like, oh, you didn't want to live, or you were depressed, or you were lost, or you were angry, it's so bad, it's so negative. Is it? I mean, is that negative, or is that just what someone told us? That, oh, well, these emotions are really good, and those are the only ones you should have, and all the rest are really terrible. Don't ever do that. Maybe the dark is only the dark because we defined it as such. Maybe the shadow is only the shadow because we don't want to look at it. And maybe those toxins are there because we're letting it rot, It's like people would rather hate the fungus rather than examining their own actions. What I mean is, if you leave some fruit out on your table and let it rot, fungus and stuff is going to grow on it. So you're going to get mad at the fungus and be like, we need better pesticides. We need better chemicals. We need more GMOs to make these fruits last longer because this goddamn bullshit fungus is growing on my fruits. Okay, well, what about maybe, maybe nurturing the soil, giving it better minerals and ocean minerals and biodynamic and all these great ways of growing it. Maybe look at that so that, yeah, the plant is stronger, the plant has a better nature, a better essence to it. But maybe just don't be an idiot and leave fruit out on your table to rot. Maybe just eat it faster. Or if you can't eat it, don't buy it. Or if you're not going to eat it, give it to someone else who can eat it within a short amount of time. And don't get mad at the fungus for being the fungus and doing its job, which is a very necessary point of decomposing things which need to be decomposed and or recycled. I don't know. Anyways, hopefully this has given you some context for things. Maybe you've had similar experiences. Maybe you felt the same way. Maybe you do feel the same way right now and you don't know why. I don't know, but either way, hopefully this was helpful and or entertaining. Or maybe I really doubt anyone really watches this whole video anyways. Like, every article I put out, every video I put out, I know in the back of my head, and I fully accept that, number one, most people probably won't watch it or read it all the way through. People will just, if it's an article, people will just scan. If it's a video, people will just watch a little bit of it and not watch all of it. Or they'll put it on in the background while they're listening to music or doing other things, not paying any attention, which, I mean, I do that too. I put on listen to lectures while I'm, doing whatever I'm doing, and I'm still listening. Sure, yeah, I get that. But also I realize that people are probably just going to skip through it and not really listen to it anyway. So that's why I feel a bit more empowered and liberated to say things, because I'm like, no one's really going to understand it anyways, or necessarily hear it, or necessarily think about it that much. It's really kind of liberating in a lot of ways. But perhaps certain people will, or a certain person will, when the time is right, if it's right for them. It's not really my responsibility. It's not really under my control. I just kind of accept it as it is. But attention spans are short, so I don't really expect anyone to watch a 40-minute video about anxiety, depression, neuroses, and whatever. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you haven't enjoyed it, I don't know what to tell you. But I would say share it, but I don't know. I mean, really? Share it if you want. It's really long, and your friends aren't going to watch it. They'll probably just watch 2 minutes and then like it, and then scroll to the cat video or the meme or the picture of boobs or some muscly dude and be done with this whole self-reflection existentialist nonsense. Ugh. Who wants to deal with that when I can be in the circus? I could get some bread and some peanuts. That sounds exciting. But for now, I'm going to go have tea because that's what I like. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you soon.